Here's the thing. However much you tried to avoid it before, even if speaking up wasn't really your thing, none of us can ignore the explosion of Jew hatred around the world anymore. And that's what I'm doing. No way I need it. It really is me standing in front of you today, saying simply that my name is Gal and I'm Jewish, and we have had enough of Jew hatred. We will confront anti-Semitism, we will call it out, but we will never let it not only defeat us, but define us, because our love is stronger than their hate. In the days after October 7th, we were all distraught. Like many of you, I was glued to the horrors coming out of Israel and the hatred spilling over here. I'm not a religiously observant person, but I found myself in the temple, in the synagogue, and it was then when finally I was just a little bit comforted. I felt the embrace of the Jewish people and the power in the warmth of our community. And I will never forget that feeling, because even though I was a long way from home in Israel and I was in a temple in Los Angeles, I felt at home among family. And for those few precious moments, the chaos and violence of the outside world felt just a little bit easier to deal with. October 7th showed us that what happens to Jews anywhere affects Jews everywhere. And this goes both ways. Not only what happens there affects us here, but what happens here affects them there. So here we are in this room together, calling for the release of every single one of our hostages. We have to bring them home. With every hostage release, we hear new testimonies of the horrors they've been through. Every minute for them is hell. Their lives are in danger, and we need them home. We want the hostages and their families to know that we have your back, that we are here for you. And we need them to know that wherever they go in the world, where there's a Jewish community, they will always find people who campaigned for them, who love them, and who will never let them walk alone. Because this is who we are, and this is who we will always be, taking responsibility for each other. Along with my husband Yaron, we're bringing up 4 daughters to also be proud of who they are, to take responsibility, to love themselves. We're raising strong, independent Jewish women, strong women who stand with other women. Now, I know many women in this room and in our community that have stood strong for the rights of women and girls. On October 7th, Jewish women were sexually terrorized, raped, murdered, and kidnapped by Hamas. We were all listening for, hoping to hear support from our sisters around the world, and too often heard silence. We can't wait any longer. We can't hold our breaths and pray or beg for support from people, groups, community that don't want to be there for us. We need to be there for ourselves. And this is why every single Jew must lean in now, in whatever way we can. Speak up, learn more about our history. We can always do that. Join a temple, find your community, get connected, and as we support our own community, never stop reaching out to the world. Rabbi Hillel famously said, "Im en ani li mili." If I'm not for, sorry, I'm too excited. I'm not used to this. Rabbi Hillel famously said, "Im en ani li mili." If I'm not for myself, then who will be for me? And if I'm only for myself, then what am I? So even if we don't hear others speaking up for us, we have to keep speaking up for ourselves and reaching out our hands to everyone to join in. That is what I tell my daughters. First, learn to love yourselves, who you are and where you're from, and then the rest will follow. It's time to pass on to our children a love of who they are. So, who are we? We, the Jewish people, are an ancient people with an ancient story in an ancient homeland. We are the people that celebrate life. We work to see better and more peaceful future. We challenge hate when we face it, but we do it with love while always striving to make the world a better place. And who am I? My name is Gal, and I'm Jewish. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you.